My brother Owen's promotion party was being held at the penthouse suite of the Meridian Hotel. He'd just made partner at Blackstone and Reed, one of the city's most prestigious law firms. At 35, he was their youngest partner in a decade. "This is what success looks like," Dad said proudly, gesturing around the room filled with attorneys, judges, and corporate executives. "Partner at a top firm. That's achievement." I sipped my champagne and nodded. I'd heard variations of this speech my entire adult life. Owen was the successful one. Owen had made the right choices. Owen had a real career. "Riley, you came." Owen appeared with his fiancée Amanda, both dressed impeccably. "I wasn't sure you'd make it. Don't you have some website thing you're always working on?" "I wouldn't miss your party," I said, hugging him. "Congratulations on making partner." "Thanks, sis. Hey, let me introduce you to some people." He led me toward a group of his colleagues. "Everyone, this is my little sister Riley. She does something with technology. Works from home mostly." "Nice to meet you," said a senior partner named Gerald. "What kind of technology work?" "I founded a fintech company," I said. "Paystream. We provide payment processing infrastructure for e-commerce platforms." "Oh, one of those startup things," Gerald said dismissively. "My nephew does that too. Makes apps or something. Never quite understood it." Owen laughed. "Riley's been doing her laptop thing for what, 6 years now? Still waiting for it to take off." What they didn't know, what Owen had never bothered to ask about, was that Paystream had taken off spectacularly. We processed over $40 billion in transactions annually. Our client list included 8 of the top 20 e-commerce platforms globally. Last quarter's revenue, $127 million. What they really didn't know was that 3 months ago, a consortium of private equity firms had approached us about a majority stake acquisition. The deal had closed 2 weeks ago, valuing Paystream at $2.8 billion. My 47% ownership stake was now worth $1.316 billion. And what absolutely nobody in this room knew was that at midnight tonight, in exactly 3 hours and 42 minutes, Forbes would publish their annual self-made billionaires under 40 list. I was number 7. The youngest woman on the list at 32 years old. "So you're unemployed basically," a young associate named Trevor said with a smirk. "Living the dream, working in your pajamas." "Something like that," I replied mildly. Mom appeared beside me looking concerned. "Riley, honey, Owen and Amanda are looking at houses in Westchester. 3 bedrooms, beautiful neighborhood. Maybe you should think about settling down too. Getting a stable income." "I have a stable income, Mom. I mean a real job, sweetie. With a company. Benefits, retirement plan, career progression." "Owen, tell them about the Davenport case," Dad called out. Owen launched into a story about representing a Fortune 500 company in a major merger. The room listened attentively, impressed by his expertise and connections. This was how it always went. Owen's accomplishments were celebrated, discussed in detail, praised extensively. My work was an afterthought, a hobby, something I did to pass time until I got serious about life. "She just sits at home on her laptop," I heard Owen tell a group of colleagues near the bar. "I keep telling her to come work at the firm. We have a great legal marketing department. She'd be good at that." I checked my watch. 9:17 p.m. 2 hours and 43 minutes. Amanda approached me, wine glass in hand. "Riley, I've been meaning to ask. Are you still single? I have a friend who works in IT at my company. Maybe you two would hit it off. He's very nice, stable job, good benefits." "I'm not really looking right now," I said. "I'm focused on my company." "Right, your little project," she said with a patronizing smile. "But you need to think long term. What happens when that doesn't work out? You're 32. You need security." My phone buzzed. A text from my CFO, Marcus. "Forbes confirmed publication at midnight. ACPR team is ready. Your phone is going to explode. Enjoy watching their faces when it hits." I smiled and put my phone away. "What's funny?" Owen asked, joining us. "Nothing. Just work stuff." "Work," he repeated with air quotes. "Riley, seriously, when are you going to get a real job?" Dad pulled some strings. "He can get you an interview at his firm's corporate office." "I don't need Dad to pull strings," I said quietly. "Pride won't pay your bills," Owen said. "Look, I'm doing great. Partner at 35. Amanda's a senior manager at her company. We're buying a house, planning the wedding, building real wealth. What are you building sitting at home on your computer? You'd be surprised, I said. A judge named Carolyn Henderson joined our circle. Owen, congratulations again on making partner. Your parents must be so proud. They are, Owen beamed. My little sister here is still figuring out her path, but I'm sure she'll find her way eventually. What do you do, Riley? Judge Henderson asked politely. I run a payment processing company, Paystream. We provide infrastructure for e-commerce platforms. Paystream. Her eyes widened. I know that company. One of my cases last year involved payment processing disputes. Paystream was cited as the industry standard for security and reliability. Thank you, I said. We work hard on our security protocols. Wait, you run Paystream? She asked. That's a major company. They process billions in transactions. Over 40 billion annually, I confirmed. Owen laughed nervously. Billions? Riley, come on. I'm not exaggerating, I said calmly. Paystream processes payments for over 800 e-commerce platforms globally. Our top 20 clients each process over $1 billion annually through our system. If that were true, we'd have heard about it, Amanda said dismissively. You're hearing about it now, Judge Henderson said, staring at me. Paystream is huge in the fintech world. My daughter works in venture capital. She mentioned Paystream just raised a massive funding round. We were acquired actually, I said. 2 weeks ago. Private equity consortium. The deal valued the company at $2.8 billion. The silence was deafening. Owen's face went pale. Dad's champagne glass stopped halfway to his mouth. $2.8 billion? Mom repeated faintly. I own 47% of the company, I continued. So my stake is worth approximately $1.3 billion. Give or take a few million depending on earn-out provisions. You're a billionaire? Owen said, his voice strangled. As of 2 weeks ago, yes. This is insane, Amanda said. If you were a billionaire, we'd know. It would be in the news. I checked my watch. 10:28 p.m. 1 hour and 32 minutes. It will be, I said. Forbes publishes their self-made billionaires under 40 list at midnight. I'm number 7. Trevor, the associate who'd called me unemployed, actually dropped his drink. The glass shattered on the marble floor. You're on the Forbes billionaire list? Dad asked, seeming unable to process the words. I found out 3 weeks ago they were including me. They've been fact-checking my financials. The article goes live at midnight. Owen sat down heavily. How? How did we not know? Because you never asked, I said simply. For 6 years, you've introduced me as someone who does something with technology. You've called my company a hobby, a project, a little startup. You've suggested I get a real job approximately 47 times. Not once did you ask about my revenue, my clients, my growth, or my business model. We thought. Mom started, then trailed off. You thought I was unsuccessful because I didn't look successful by your definition, I finished. No law degree, no corporate office, no suits and briefcases. I work from home in comfortable clothes, so I must not be serious. Judge Henderson was staring at me with something like awe. Paystream revolutionized payment processing security. The encryption protocols you developed became industry standard. Every fintech conference I've attended in the past 3 years has mentioned Paystream as the innovation leader. Thank you, I said. We have an incredible team. Why didn't you tell us? Owen demanded, finding his voice. Why let us think you were struggling? I wasn't struggling. You assumed I was struggling. I told you I ran a payment processing company. I mentioned landing major clients. I talked about expanding to international markets. You heard those words and dismissed them because they didn't fit your narrative. Your narrative? Amanda said sharply. That Owen is the successful one and I'm the underachiever, I said plainly. It's been the family story for 6 years. Owen the brilliant attorney. Riley the confused one who never figured out her career. That's not fair, Dad protested. Isn't it? Last Thanksgiving, Owen announced he was being considered for partner. You toasted his success, called him brilliant, talked about how proud you were. I mentioned Paystream had just signed a partnership with Amazon. You said, that's nice, and asked Owen more questions about his promotion. The memory hung in the air, undeniable. At Christmas, I continued. I tried to explain that we'd processed over $10 billion in transactions that year. Mom suggested I think about law school. It's not too late, she said. You're smart enough. Mom's eyes filled with tears. I was trying to help. You were trying to fix something that wasn't broken, I said gently. My career didn't need fixing. It just didn't look like Owen's career, so you assumed it was less valuable. My phone started buzzing. 11:47 p.m. Early notifications from West Coast colleagues who'd seen the Forbes advance copy. 13 minutes, I said. The article goes live at midnight. Your phones are going to start exploding with notifications. People you know reading about Owen's billionaire sister. Might want to prepare yourselves. Jesus Christ, Owen muttered, running his hands through his hair. Trevor approached cautiously. I'm sorry for what I said earlier. About being unemployed. That was ignorant and rude. Apology accepted, I said. Can I ask, Judge Henderson said carefully, why did you come tonight? If you knew this news was breaking, if you knew it would overshadow Owen's celebration, why come? Because he's my brother, I said simply. And I'm proud of him for making partner. That's a real achievement that took hard work and dedication. Just because my success is different doesn't diminish his. Owen looked at me, and for the first time in years, I saw real emotion in his eyes. I've been an ass, he said quietly. Yes, I said. You have. I'm sorry. I appreciate that. At 11:58 p.m. phones started buzzing. News was breaking. Forbes has her listed, someone said. Riley Chin, Paystream founder. Net worth $1.3 billion. At midnight, every phone lit up. Forbes, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal. Youngest woman on Forbes billionaire list. Paystream founder worth $1.3 billion. The room's energy changed. Suddenly, everyone wanted to talk to me. Gerald, who once mocked my startup, said, Ms. Chin, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how big your company was. No harm done, I said. I looked at Owen. He stood alone, staring at his phone. I walked over. Sorry your party got hijacked. Don't be, he said. My sister's a billionaire. You've done more than I ever will. Success isn't a race, I said. You made partner at 35. I built Paystream. Different paths, same pride. I mocked you, he said softly. Called your company a hobby. I was wrong. You didn't know because you never asked, I said. But you can ask now. I want to, he said. I want to understand what you've built. Mom and Dad came over shocked. We owe you an apology, Dad said. Mom cried. We focused on old ideas of success. We were wrong. I forgive you, I said. But I needed your belief back when it was uncertain, not now that Forbes confirmed it. You're right, Dad said. We should have believed all along. The party became mine. People asked about fintech business and my company. At 2 a.m. Owen found me on the balcony. Thank you, he said. For coming. For not rubbing it in. For still treating me like family. You'll always be my brother, I said. Coffee next week? I'd like that. Weeks later, at a quiet cafe, Owen sat across from me with a notebook. He asked about Paystream's tech, the encryption, the innovation. I explained. He listened carefully. This is brilliant, he said. I had no idea. I'm sorry I didn't ask sooner. You're asking now, I said. That's what matters. My little project had become a billion-dollar empire. But the real success wasn't the money or fame. It was this. Sitting with my brother, finally seen, finally understood. Success takes many forms. The best kind is the one you define yourself. And the one your family finally understands.